Welcome to the Cluttered Kraken, where we talk about being an indie artist, selling online, at cons, and creating, as well as behind-the-scenes stuff like geeky homesteading, working from home, and general survival as an independent creator today. My name is Chris McClanahan, and in this video we are starting out our Carbonite Candy Quest, where we examine what a freeze dryer does to different types of candies for the month of October, because I love spookiness and candy. So welcome to Carbonite Candy Quest. So every month in October I try to do one of the many different October related month-long things that people do in October, because I'm a huge Halloween fan. I love horror stuff. I've worked on horror stuff, and every year I used to throw a massive Halloween party called the Brain Eaters. In recent years it's become more and more difficult for me to really dive in and devote myself and the entire month of October to doing something like that. Inktober's great. I've done it a few times. It's really difficult to get art done daily when you're working on conventions and everything else as well. So I thought it would be kind of fun this month instead to shift our focus towards our Deeply Dapper Delight stuff that we're doing now, which is all freeze-dried candy stuff. I'll be diving into the other end of freeze-drying with the food and the prepping and even like some dog treat stuff and everything later on with the channel. But for the month of October, we're going to be taking a look at all of the assorted candy available anywhere, whether it's for Halloween or just sort of general interest candy. I'm going to be freeze drying it, experimenting with it, and showing you what it does. It does really interesting things. So for those of you that don't know what a freeze dryer is, we have a Harvest Right medium-sized freeze dryer. And it's, I think, the only one that's available on the market for like homeowners to just buy and use in home. I know there's some huge commercial freeze dryers and they do things totally different, but this is a interesting little device. We originally got it to prepare foods and make dog treats and things. My father-in-law takes care of a lot of dogs and we wanted to start making some like healthy alternative treats for them. But once we got the freeze dryer and started diving into what it can do, I'm a geek at heart, as I've said many times, and what the freeze dryer does to candy in particular is fascinating to me. So a freeze dryer is about the size of a beer fridge, one of those little compact ones. It has a little vacuum pump off to the side and a drain that goes down into a bucket for thawing on it. And basically all it is just a big open drum with a metal rack inside that you slide your trays onto, close the acrylic door, lock it down, and freeze dry thing. The freeze drying process is really fascinating to me. So it takes the food that you put in it and brings it down to like hyper chilled, like -50 degrees Fahrenheit. So when it's frozen, the vacuum pump kicks on and creates a vacuum inside the freeze dryer chamber. Once that's completed and it's down to a complete vacuum, no air inside the drum at all, the plates that you have the food on have a little silicone mat above each of them. And those mats start to heat up to a certain temperature, usually between 120 to 140 degrees, depending on what you have it set at. And as that happens, the food is gently warmed and the water inside the food, it just turns immediately into a vapor and evaporates right out of the food. So for normal things like chicken and that kind of thing, you get a super light, super crisp, really nicely preserved piece of food. You can throw it in some water and rehydrate it and cook with it. If you've ever gone camping and you got those meals that you pour water into and rehydrate and cook, the MRE style stuff, those are freeze dried. What it does for food is really nice because it preserves most of the nutrients as opposed to dehydrating or any of those styles of preservation. You can throw them in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber and they are good for 25 years. So that's part of why I'm excited about the big picture of having a freeze dryer is for food preparation, food prep in case of something like the pandemic where we are locked down for a year and don't have a lot of income coming in. Having food that we've harvested when it's bountiful and then saving it for times when it isn't will be really nice. However, what it does to candy is super cool. There's something about the process of candy, and I admit I'm not sure what it is yet, because I've yet to figure out why some things work and other things don't. But in the process of sublimating the moisture out of it, a lot of the times the texture and consistency of the candy physically changes. And some of the things get hard and crunchy, some of them puff and get crispy, some of them do absolutely nothing. So with this series, I am going to be examining 2 or 3 different candies each video and trying them out on the freeze dryer, trying a couple of different temperatures on them, seeing what works best with them and what kind of results you get with the freeze drying process. So I hope you enjoy these. I thought this would be really fun to do something candy related for the month of October, and it could be informative if you have a freeze dryer and you're curious if certain candies will or won't freeze dry properly. Watch on and we'll find out together. If you have any suggestions for candy I should try, give me a holler. I'm going to be doing a mix of like traditional candy and like special seasonal Halloween candy that I can find, and we will test everything that I can track down. I will say that there are certain types of candies that seem to have more of a reaction to the vacuum than others, but even that's kind of inconsistent. Like gummies have been all over the place. So stay tuned. I'd love it if you hit subscribe so you don't miss a video. You can hit the little bell notification to let you know when I post a new one. And join me as we carbonite freeze as many different types of candies as I can. Thanks for watching, everyone. May you live in interesting times. Thank you.